It's Thursday, September 12th. I'm Cameron Bailey, Artistic Director of the Toronto International Film Festival. Here's a film that'll make you laugh. It's called The Love Punch by UK director Joel Hopkins. Two great stars at the core of this film, Emma Thompson and Pierce Brosnan. They play a divorced couple on the verge of retirement who are still tied together by their retirement fund. But disaster strikes, their investment is wiped out by a bad financial move on the other side of the English Channel. They have to go to France and find the man, the French investor who has destroyed their retirement and brought them back together against their will. The movie is very funny, very charming, and it takes you to the incredibly beautiful south of France, the Côte d'Azur, where they have to infiltrate the wedding of this French financier. It's a classic caper movie with two of the most charming actors at the core of it in Emma Thompson and Pierce Brosnan. They're joined by an ensemble of great UK actors. Lots of fun, very romantic, and just gorgeous to look at. That's The Love Punch. Here are two films that will make you think. The first is called The Missing Picture by the Cambodian director Riti Pan. This is a documentary following on the work he's done in past films chronicling the history and the legacy of the Cambodian genocide, that horrific murder of up to 2 million people that happened in the 1970s at the hands of the Khmer Rouge. In this case, what he's done is he's gone back to try to capture some of those stories by people who witnessed and survived the genocide and who are still alive to tell the tale, but because there's very little visual imagery from that time that survives, he's decided to tell it almost as an animated film. He has found small figures that can be handcrafted to tell the story of what happened in the camps, the death camps that the Khmer Rouge founded, the re-education camps, some of the very violent things that happened to many people who are still alive today. And he does it in a way that has a kind of an almost childlike element to it, because these are almost toy figures that are telling the story of horrific violence. It's an interesting collision visually, but it works very beautifully, and I think allows you entry into the story because the actual images in some cases would be too disturbing to look at, but I think the way that he's chosen to tell the story really allows you to reflect on what happened. The film is called The Missing Picture by Cambodian filmmaker Riti Pan. Our Man in Tehran arrives at just the right moment. We all saw Argo last year, which was the story of the Canadian caper told from a US filmmaker, Ben Affleck's perspective, the story of how American officials hid in the Canadian embassy at the height of the Iranian Revolution in 1979. This is a Canadian documentary by Canadian filmmaker Larry Weinstein, and it tells it from a completely different perspective, the Canadian perspective. So this is the story of Canadian Ambassador Ken Taylor, who was posted in Iran when the Shah of Iran fell and the Islamic Republic was founded in 1979. He made the decision to hide Americans in the Canadian embassy, and it actually gives you a lot more detail than just those bare facts of the story. There's some things that were hidden at the time in terms of what the motivations were, who knew what, when. All of that is revealed in this documentary. It's a fascinating story and a great opportunity to see the real truth behind the story of Argo. That's Our Man in Tehran. We're showing it as part of our Mavericks conversation, and we'll follow the film with a conversation between Larry Weinstein and former ambassador Ken Taylor.